Namaste. Welcome back to my channel, guys. I'm Vanessa and I'm here for another message. So I got told that I have to speak about the risk in this journey. It's not a happy time, especially when you go through, dark night of the soul, ego death, all that stuff. It can be quite scary and it's a bit of a risk sometimes. Sometimes, it's not this romantic love where you fall in love and then that's it. It's actually work that needs to be done. It's a lot of risk that is involved that you have to take in this journey, and it's not easy sometimes. So I've got a bit of a spread happening. The first thing I saw was this big bear. He was really big and he was behind a small person. And he was in this big forest, and it was just like, we felt almost intimidated, and I feel like that's a lot of divine feminines. We feel like the weight is over our shoulders. We feel like sometimes even our masculine can be some big monster, and sometimes you think, is it really worth it? He's being so mean to me. Like he treats me like crap. Like he's running away. He's not treating me nice. He's leaving me all alone in this forest, and all he's doing is yelling at me and trying to go after me or making me feel like I'm not worthy. And sometimes twins do feel like that, make you feel like that. It's not all of them, but I mean, when you do go through that whole stage thing where running and chasing, or one twin, either it's feminine or masculine, they can turn on you and they can, not treat you as nice as what they used to or what they were supposed to. So I got 5 of Wands. I got 5 of Pentacles, and reward yourself. So it's kind of like I was just saying, like, it's kind of like a battle, within yourself or even with your twin. It's like he's some big monster and he makes you push yourself into that dark spot that no one wants to take that risk for. At the end of the day, when the twin does make you feel crap or, says things that really hurt you, it's kind of a reflection of what you have to work on. Just think like your twin is your biggest teacher in your life. And just think that these battles that you have with your twin is what you have within yourself, yeah. And, sometimes you just have to go in the cold, and it has to be very uneasy, and that's a risk that you have to take on this journey, that you have to learn to see the dark, the dark in yourself, the dark, with like your shadow self, your dark in, your dynamic in terms of like what he has to work on in you or anything like that. But it's kind of saying that really reward yourself and really kind of do things that make you feel good. Like healing, it's not always beautiful, you do go through some really dark places, but just think that when you do the healing, it's always worth it. You always get the reward out of it. And I mean, that says it all, really. It's a very rewarding journey. It's not always going to be like that. So that's a risk that I got shown. The second one was storm and lightning in the sky. It was kind of just like a big storm, yeah. I got Temperance, 9 of Pentacles, and go for it and Cupid. So I feel like it's like when you're together, there's lightning, it's a massive boom sort of thing. And you get really awakened in what you're meant to be doing, and it really awakens you to really seeing the reality of life, really going into that 5D sort of mindset, and really finding that balance between the 5D and the 3D. That's, we call it a risk, but it's kind of like that's what you're awakened to. You're awakened to the way the world works. You're awakened to, what you're meant to be doing. Like, you're awakened to so many things that it can be a little bit of a overwhelming experience. But you must go for that, you know. They're saying that really go for it and really, you know, really know, yeah, it's a risk being, you know, I don't even know if it's a risk being awakened, but it's that whole balancing between the mind and ego, like that's like in that's where it turns into dark night of the soul, ego death. Like you really go into this place where you just like, wow, like I didn't realize I had a soul and an ego, like how am I going to balance this out? And that can be really daunting, just that can be a bit of a risk just doing that. But obviously there's heaps of good things about it. You know, you realize who you are, you see the good things in life, you realize that it is much more beauty in life than you think. So there's always, you know, I feel like this reading, it's telling you what the risks are, but there's also giving me something to say in terms of like, it's not that bad, like it's a risk, but there's a lot of pros to it as well. So that's for that one. The second one I saw tiptoeing on sharp edges. It's like we were just like tiptoeing on these really sharp glassy objects. I got the Ace of Pentacles and the Hangman and the Wedding, guys. Yes. Okay. So yeah, like we have to tiptoe on sharp edges. We have to realize that it hurts, you know, sometimes it really hurts, and that's a big risk you have to think of. But they're saying that through all the work and healing that you do, that there is always a reward through this, and knowing it, if it makes you become stronger. Just think, if you were tiptoeing on really sharp edges all the time, like just say you were doing it, you know, always tiptoeing all the time, you notice that gradually you'll get used to that, yeah? And you become stronger, your feet become stronger, you notice that you can actually, it's not as bad as it was the first time. And that's how I really see this message. I feel like, you know, we're working towards the wedding, we're working towards the union, but you have to go through you have to go through those sharpie objects or those sharpie moments in your life to really get to the reward, to get to, you know, what the universe wants to deliver to you. And this really makes you strong. This healing that we do makes us so strong that, you know, by the 10th time that you step on those sharp objects, they don't hurt anymore. You're used to it, you know, and there's always a reward, and the reward will be union. So that was the second one I got. Oh, third one, sorry. Okay, the fourth one I got was jumping on a slide going down an unknown hill. Our hearts were open and we were going down this hill. We didn't know where we were going. And I got the creative project, the Knight of Wands and the Seven of Cups. I got like a few messages in this one. And the Four of Pentacles. So I feel like, you know, when we're awakened and when, you know, it's not even a really risk, but actually it kind of is. When we're awakened, we realize that we're in this like amazing, it's kind of like the universe is like a magic sort of place, you know. We can literally have whatever we want, and sometimes we go down with our hearts open, we go down this slide and we take a risk. And I really felt that with that was taking a risk into our creative projects, taking a risk to seeing things different to what we used to. You know, we're going down this place that we don't know where we're going, but we know that it's right for us. We know that we have to go down that. And through this risk, we really figure out what we want inside, you know. We realize that, you know, our intuition heightens, if that's a word, yeah, that's alright, heightens up. We realize the creative projects that we're into, we really take that risk, you know. We have our hearts open to anything, and we're open to possibilities in our life, you know. we really tap into our creativity. And we see things differently. We see things differently than what they used to be. So this is a good risk, you know. They're not all bad risks, but this is a really good one. This is a risk that we get to actually be who we really want to be, and we're awakened to trusting our intuition. We're awakened to following creativity projects that we're into. We really trust that. So that's that one. So the next one, we have the Innocence, the Nine of Swords, and the Hair of this. I'm gonna learn how to say this word. Alright, so what I saw was, I should say what I saw first actually. So what I saw was a person wrapping a blanket around while we're freezing in the cold. Sometimes we're left in the cold because we have to actually release all that doesn't serve us. And it can be it's a cold place. As I said, we go through some really dark moments, and that's all part of healing, you know. We have to relive and go back and go through those, you know, tormenting places or those situations that is making us having to heal. I really felt through this, it was saying that we have to stick to, you know, the bigger purpose that we're here for, yeah? We need to know that we are protected by leaders, by our, you know, angels, by our spirit guides. We actually are very protected, and they're here to help us with the releasing. They're here to help us with you know, the releasing the hard feelings, the fears, the insecurities, everything that was traumatic to you, that why you're here on this journey. And know that, you know, they're here to wrap that blanket around you when it is cold. We need to really trust that and be open to that as well. And that's a risk that we have to take, is we have to take that ride of healing of a deeper level. But it's also a risk of, you know, really trusting the journey, really trusting the leaders we have in our life, and really trusting this spiritual path that we've taken on. So that was definitely, I think that kind of sums up what I was saying. So the last one is, now this keeps coming up to me all week, and in my tarot cards on my Instagram. So there was a bird's eye view, and I felt like we were stalking our twin. And yeah, this is a risk, but we can't live like that. We can't dwell, and I think a lot of us really dwell on our twin, what they're doing, what they're up to, who they're with. We just can't do it, you know. But anyway, I got the cards: be honest with yourself, justice, and the Three of Wands. So it's saying that you need to stick to your truth and be honest with yourself. I feel like that's saying if you know your truth, you know what's real, you don't need to do the stalking, because that's 3D stuff, you know, that's 3D reality. We need to, and be honest with yourself. If you are stalking, do you really want to take that risk of feeling hurt again? Do you really want to go down that track where the insecurities come? I mean, it's good that things are coming up for you to release, but at the same time, it's kind of like you could be using those you could be working on those insecurities in a different way. You don't have to, you know, go down that level of like going down that level of that risk of getting hurt, you know. Like, these are triggers that aren't really necessary, you know. You don't really need to do that. And sometimes, like, the sad reality is we all do it. I mean, I've done it before, and everyone I've known in twin flame journey have done it. But is that something that you want to keep repeating, of like stalking and what they're doing? And it just kind of puts you in a really uneasy state all the time. So I feel like maybe rather than focusing on your twin, really shift that onto yourself and reflect on yourself, and reflect on, you know, why is he triggering me like this? Like, how can I work on this? And unfortunately, the reality is we do stalk sometimes, and we need to ask ourselves, why are we actually doing that? Like, what does that actually serve us? So I feel like just sticking to your truth at all times is number one, and really being honest with yourself, saying, why am I actually stalking him? What do I need out of this? Like, why is it actually happening for me? So that's like the main messages I got. I got abundance unlikely for the overall message, and let go. We really need to let go of expectations. We really need to let go of how things should be, and we need to, it's not getting over the risk, but we need to realize that what we signed up for this journey, and how we can use these things that I've said, how we can put them in a better light. And I feel like we're really turning towards things that make you feel good in terms of passions, work, like good, things that you want to work towards, and shifting, your attention on your twin to actually committing to the journey, and committing to you as a light worker, committing to you as making a change in this world, and really believe that whatever happens is unlikely to happen the way it's meant to happen. It says giving and receiving here. And I've been saying this a lot in my card readings as well. King of Cups, and not the right time for the last one. This is not the right time to be obsessing over our twins, or being, falling into these traps. Yeah, we really need to see these risks, quote unquote, a good thing, and bringing them more in a better light. Really practicing on working with the universe, giving and receiving, and know that whatever you're doing is working for your twin as well. Yeah, even though you can't see it, especially in 3D, if you can't see it, that's all illusion. Everything is happening, even if you can't see, So I think that really sums up the message. There's a few things I wanted to say was, how can we avoid these risks? Praying at a church, praying all the time. Also, make sure you just go with the flow and just allow things to happen the way they're meant to happen. And, it's a ride, but just get on that surfboard and just like go with it and see where it takes you. Also, make sure, ask your angels for help and be around light. Do a lot of communication in 5D with your twin. It really helps. And I always say this: believe, trust, and have faith. Three key things you need on this journey. I hope this really made sense, and I hope you guys like this. It's a bit different. It's not something that everyone wants to know, but I felt very guided to talk about it, and know that these risks may seem negative, but they're actually a very positive thing. And anything here that I've said, you can always turn to a positive. And when you are triggered, that's a trigger that you need to work on for union. So I'm sending you guys so much love, and have a good day. Namaste.